everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I am sharing with you our summer bookshelves. I am so excited to finally change our spring books over to our summer books. This is something we do every turn of the season and it's something we really look forward to as a family. What we do is we swap the previous season to the new season, and this is just a lovely way of kind of celebrating that transitional time, and also it gives us so many ideas of things that we want to see and do in the coming months. So yeah, without further ado, I am going to show you a quick peek at each of the books that I've chosen this season and just tell you a little bit about why I chose them. So let's start off over here. There are quite a few books, and I should probably say that I've got two children. Toby is 2 and Rupert's 4, so I have to kind of balance both of their interests and their abilities. So there's a combination of paper books, read-alouds, and also board books. But yes, the first book I've got here is this lovely little board book. It's called The Little Book of Garden Bird Songs, and it's actually very informative. So it's something that I will definitely learn from too. And so it contains all these different birds that you might see in the garden, and then there's these corresponding buttons, and if you press them you get the bird song. Oh, and there's also a handy switch at the bottom. And then you can just switch it off, which is quite handy. Toby loves this, he loves to press buttons, so this is really entertaining for him. But it's actually a really good informative book that we will use in our morning basket as well. And we'll also bring outside and see if we can identify some bird song over the coming months. Have is Blue on Blue by Dianne White and Beth Crombs. This is a Caldecott Medal winner. And I came across this and I really could not resist it. It would actually have made a really good addition to our spring shelves as well, because it's about rain, but then we have so much rain in this part of the world that I thought it would be a lovely one to read on a rainy summer's day. So as you can see, the illustrations are incredible, and it just has quite a lot of pages actually that take you through all the different rain sounds and loads of things to see on each page and discuss. And yeah, just beautiful. So a perfect one to take out when the weather is a little bit gloomier and rainy, which I'm sure we'll get plenty of those days as well. And yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful. There's also another one of these called Green on Green, which I'm going to be adding to our autumn bookshelves. And yeah, I'm excited to get my hands on that one. I love these little flower fairy books. They're very, very sweet. The author is Cecily Mary Barker, and they are lovely to dive into because they have a little poem and then a very sweet illustration. And again, this is perfect for bringing it outside and doing a little bit of identification on different flowers, and then you could read the poem together. Really sweet. Toby in particular loves the Flower Fairy series, so I always try and have one each season. This is just a simple board book for really young toddlers, but one that both my boys actually enjoy, but Toby is obviously at a good age for it now. It's by Allie Busby, and it's very, very simple. Quite sort of fun, childlike drawings of kids doing different activities in summer. And yeah, just very, very simple, but quite sweet and charming. And always a favourite with both my boys. For the month of June, I have a couple of books specific for that time of year. The first one is this read aloud, The Midsummer Tomte, I know I always say that wrong, and The Little Rabbits by Ulf Stark and Eva Eriksson. And it says at the back, it's summer in the big forest and the rabbit children are looking forward to their first midsummer party. Then a terrible storm sweeps through the forest and the woodland animals must find shelter at Grump the Tomte's cottage. Will the magic of midsummer help restore harmony to the forest in time for the party? And there's a Christmas version of this book as well, which we read in December, and there is a chapter for each day of the month, and there's some lovely illustrations, and it just, yeah, it makes a lovely book to read aloud at night time, or you could do this at tea time either. And I think we'll probably read this at tea time, maybe when the boys are doing an activity like Play-Doh or something. It might be quite a fun one to pull out, and actually a lovely way of celebrating midsummer as well. Another midsummer themed book is Bella Ballerina and A Midsummer's Night Dream by James Matthew. We have already dived into this, I have to admit I couldn't resist it. I love A Midsummer's Night Dream so much, and I couldn't resist reading this before we even swapped our books over to summer. And this just follows the story of this little girl at ballet class, and she's whisked away into a magic world. There's Puck, and it's like a very, very simple version of A Midsummer's Night Dream with beautiful illustrations, very simple, easy language, and really does keep toddlers entertained, or young children entertained while you read it. And I just think it is so lovely. I think it's gorgeous. Beautiful illustrations, simple story, great introduction to Shakespeare's Midsummer's Night Dream. Another version of A Midsummer's Night Dream. This is retold by Gerda, illustrated by Jane Ray, and this is actually published, well, yes, it's not published by, but it's in collaboration with Shakespeare's Globe. I thought this would be another great way of introducing a Shakespeare's play to the boys, and I think the illustrations in this are also incredibly magical. As you can see, the text is a little bit longer in this edition. I'm just skipping through some of the pages there, so there's lots more pages in between, but really, really charming, very magical. And yeah, just so beautiful. And yeah, I'm really, really excited for this edition. We haven't read this one yet, but it makes me feel so excited for summer when I do have a peek through it. There's just something so wonderful about Midsummer's Night Dream, and I think I'll probably have to find a couple of plays online to watch myself, just to get myself in the mood as well. For summer, I wanted to focus on bees a little bit, and I'll probably end up studying bees with the boys in their morning basket. So I got a couple of bee themed books in our bookshelves. This one is the Usborne Peep Inside a Beehive. I always like these editions. They're very simple, and I thought they would do for both Toby and Rupert. Ooh. So there's all the flaps to lift up, and then simple text that tells you about some of the things that bees do and why they do them. There we go, and some smoke cloud. They're just lovely. I think this one's a really well done one, actually. And yeah, there's just loads of flaps on each page. I'm not lifting them all up by any means, but you can get a kind of idea there. So yes, I'm really excited to read this as well. I'm excited to read all the books, and I think I probably say that every time I pick up a book, but it's something about that changing over of books. It's actually really good for my soul as well as a mum, to keep myself excited to read with the boys, and to keep myself excited about their education and what they're learning about, and excited about literature as well. So I think that's also an important part, is keeping yourself inspired as a parent, because sometimes, you know, parenting is really hard, and I find the seasonal bookshelf is something that lights me up and it lights up my boys. So it's kind of like a mutual area of joy for both of us, or three of us, should I say. So yes, that's the Beehive by Usborne. We also picked up this one for the season. It's My First Discoveries Flowers, and this is a great series. It's like a simple introduction to science for very young children, and all these books have these lovely acetates, which are a wonderful addition and really make the book very compelling to children. So you can see there's the butterflies. So not all the pages have the acetates, just so you know. But I think this is a lovely version, and I'm really, really happy with it. The buttercup. So yeah, I did miss out some of the pages there, but you get the idea. So that's also on our shelves. Of course, we have the return of Brambly, Hedge, by Jill Barklam. I'm addicted to Brambly, Hedge, and my boys love it just as much. It's something that I read as a child, and the pictures in this series are just incredible. They're very, very detailed, and the story is incredibly sweet and gentle, and it follows the lives of these little mice. And this one, I think, is all about a little, is it a picnic or a wedding? A wedding, yeah. The spring one was the picnic. Yes, so lovely. There's something so cozy and just wonderful about these pictures, and there's so much to see in each illustration. They are just beautiful. So yes, that's the summer story, and again, it's a nice little book for a child to read themselves as they get older. I remember reading the Brambly Hedge series myself, maybe when I was about 7 or so. I was really into them, but at this stage I like to just sit down and read a couple of pages at night time with the boys, and they adore it. We have Birdhouse, a Clover Robin book of nature. I had this on my wish list actually for a really long time because the cover is incredible and the Clover Robin illustrations are very, very lovely. And it's quite a simple book actually, with these flaps that you lift up, and it tells you some information about the different birds. So there's the birdhouse, woodpecker, and then some of the things they eat. So this one kind of is good for Toby and Rupert. It's not too complicated for Toby, and it's nice and simple in some ways, and also it's got enough detail to keep Rupert interested. And then I love the owl most of all. I think he's gorgeous. So yes, that's Birdhouse by Clover Robin. The return of I Am the Seed That Grew the Tree. I love this book. It's always on our bookshelves. I'll show you the summer pages. So yeah, it looks like this inside. So there's illustrations and poems for every single day of the year. Snails. Yeah, and it's just a beautiful thing to have, a real classic and something that we dip into often. Okay, so on the next row I have a lovely little board book. This is quite a Waldorf inspired one, and it's Rain or Shine by Ronald Not really sure how to say that, but this is a seasonal book, so it takes you through all the seasons. There's no words in this, so it's just pictures, which I really, really like. This page has been well loved, as you can see. My boys love the beach. And there's some autumn apple picking, play with leaves and snow, and it's so beautiful. I just think the illustrations in this are enchanting for children. Very, very simple, but perfect for Toby. And he likes to look at this throughout the day. He thinks it's wonderful. But something you could have on your shelves all year round, or if you're on a really low budget and you have a young toddler, this would be a great one that you could use throughout the seasons. You could even use this as a display for your seasonal nature table. You could open it up and prop it up. I've done that before. So yeah, I think this is a great one to have. We've been studying butterflies, so if you watch my May morning basket, you'll already have seen this one. It's Butterfly Bouquet by Nicola Davis, illustrated by Hannah Peck. And it's the story of this little girl who has come home from hospital and she's feeling a bit sick. And her dad takes her to a butterfly house, and they end up going home, and through spring they look after their garden, and when summer comes all the butterflies arrive. So a nice little story, and I wanted to, this would work actually for spring as well, but I wanted to bring this into our summer books because there's just so many butterflies emerging at the moment, and I thought this one would be a good way of keeping the boys' interest open to butterflies. So this is why this is on the shelves. I have another butterfly book that you might have seen again in that May basket video. This is A Butterfly is Patient by Dianne Hutt Aston and Sylvia Long. I love this. The illustrations are very almost scientific, so very accurate, and very visually engaging. So beautiful. And it has some simple facts about butterflies, which is fantastic. So a great introduction to the subject for young children. And yeah, we just love this. Bees. This is Bee by Bretta Treckentrup. Now, I've had this book for ages, and actually it really reminds me of Rupert because I bought this before Toby was born, and Rupert and I would read this together, and it just always reminds me of him because he loved it so much, and he still knows the story very well because I read it so often to him. But it's a lovely story, very rhythmic, and it follows this little bee on this page here. And yeah, it just is flying through all the meadows, and it's just gorgeous. If you don't have this, you should definitely get a copy because it's fantastic. Another sweet little board book with no words is Summer by Gerda Muller. We have the whole series of this. the spring, summer, autumn and winter. But what I like about this is it gives some ideas of activities that children might like to do in the season, and lots of different things to see and talk about in each picture. And there's something about Gerda Muller's illustrations that really do capture the imagination of children, I've noticed, and it's a book that both my boys always gravitate towards, so definitely highly recommend the whole series by Gerda Muller. Another sweet little board book that I picked up specifically for Toby is Planting a Rainbow by Lois Elhert. I'm definitely pronounced that wrong. And this is a lovely book all about colours, but it's told through the teaching of like seeds and flowers. And yes, it's very visual and colourful, as expected by all the books by Lewis. And yeah, it's just beautiful. And then I love this section here with all the different colours. And then you open it up and there's orange and there's all the different orange colours. And it tells you what all the flowers are as well. So very beautiful. I think that one goes quite well with this book, which is 199 Things in the Garden by Usborne. This has got lovely chunky pages, so kind of like a thin card. And it's like a simple identification guide to things like flowers, birds, trees, some animals, things that you might find in the garden, and some insects. Yeah, really lovely, and one that we've taken out into the garden already, as it's getting so much warmer now, and I like to use it to show the boys things like daisies. And yeah, it's just a great little thing to have. The James Matthew book is Katie and the Sunflowers. These books are so brilliant at teaching basic art to children. This one is all about Vincent van Gogh's Sunflowers. And the stories always start with Katie visiting the gallery with her grandma, and the grandma usually falls asleep and Katie ends up jumping into the different pictures and having adventures. So this one looks at some of the most famous Vincent van Gogh paintings, and yeah, it's just a really great way of introducing artwork and artists to children, and I think they are fantastic. And yeah, every time I read these books I always think, oh, I wish I had these when I was growing up, because they are so magical and just a great way, like I said, of getting to know an artist or a subject. And yeah, I think they are so worth collecting. We've got a few of these now, and yeah, I'll definitely end up getting the whole series for sure. Of course, we have our Wynstone Press seasonal anthology. This is the summer one, and what I love about these is that they have stories at the back, poems all based around the season of summer, and some songs as well. It's all just in black and white, so it's definitely something that the parent will want to read out or sing out or whatever to the child. But yes, I always love these editions, and I'm so glad that we have the summer one. The spring one we've had and we adored it, and we've loved the autumn one too, so this one I'm sure we'll read plenty from. The Outdoors by Shirley Hughes has been a fan favourite for a long time, and if you look closely you can see this one is actually covered in dirt. We bought the second hand, which is why it has got the library cover on it. But it's got soil all the way down the front, because this one has come down to the polytunnel quite a few times. And this is just such a beautiful book about a little boy called Alfie. And he, look, I love the insects page, it's lovely. And he, yeah, he grows some seeds and things like that in his garden. I think it's carrots, and yeah, it's fantastic. Just got so many good pictures to look at. The storyline is really sweet, and I love this little thing at the back where it shows you all the different months and things that happen during the month. So yeah, just a perfect book. If you don't have it, definitely grab a copy, because it's such a classic and a lovely one to have in spring or summer or autumn. Another Shirley Hughes book is Summer. This is part of the nursery collection, which I'll link below. And this one has sort of poems and like short little stories and things in it. And it is so sweet. We have had this for a really long time now, and it's just such a like or quite nostalgic really now when we pull it out, because we know all the poems so well, and the pictures are so brilliant. They really do sort of show all those things that as a child what you really love, like hiding in a meadow or playing on the beach, going for walks. It's just, yeah, really beautiful. Highly recommend that whole collection, it's fantastic. Finally is this lovely Ladybird book, What to Look For in Summer. And the illustrations in this actually doesn't say who it's by, but they are really lovely. It's basically like a simple introduction to various nature topics done by season. So wildflowers, sea and shore, and that one's in the cornfields. And so it's quite a nice way of just doing a little bit of reading, and then there's the corresponding picture to go with it. And I think I love this one in particular with the rabbit and the strawberries. And yeah, I think it's just beautiful, and something that, you know, you could have this out for quite a long time, because I think even an older child would probably get quite a lot out of this if they're doing a bit of nature study. So yes, I think this is just a charming series, and I can imagine we'll have this series out for quite a while now, since the boys are still quite young. And like I said, I imagine we'll probably read this until they're much older. So that's it. That's all the books that we've got for summer. Like I said, I'm really excited to read these books. Over the next coming weeks, I'll be focusing on the Midsummer books, so the Shakespeare plays, and also the Midsummer and the Little Rabbit. And then, yes, we've got all these other beautiful books to explore, so so much to look forward to in the next few weeks. And I think my plan this year is to do a little swap for August. I think in August I'm going to redo my books and do a kind of sea themed one. So if I do that, I will record that as well, just to show you all our beautiful sea themed books. So that's it. That's all the books I have for my boys this summer. I am so excited to start reading them with the boys. I think they are all beautiful books, and yeah, they're making me happy just looking at them, so I'm sure the boys are going to love them too. I'd love to know what books you're reading with your children this summer, so do write those below in the comments. And if you enjoy this channel, please do support the channel by either shopping using the links below, or alternatively go and check out my Patreon community. The Patreon community has tons of videos. I do day in the life vlogs as well as monthly live chats, and there's also a mini e-course on it as well. So do check that out if you enjoy my videos, as it's a great way of supporting the channel and making it possible for me to film these videos, as well as doing the podcast as well, which I'll link below. So thank you so much. Have a lovely day wherever you are, and sending you so much love. Thank you, and see you soon. Bye.